This is a kind of like a thing for something someone wrote recently, made me think on the lines of, when somebody does bad things, does that actually make them a bad person? I don't actually know how to answer that. I think if you do bad things and it's a mistake and you learn by the bad things you do, then I don't think you are a bad person. But if you continue to choose to do things in the worst possible way, to hurt people and to cause damage and to be disrespectful or uncaring or unloving or dishonest and unfaithful or things like that, if you do that again and again and again, and you can't see that you have major problem with choosing to do good things and choosing to do things in a kinder, more respectful, truthful, honest way, then I think you have to ask yourself not whether you're a bad person, but whether you have problems. Problems with your personality, problems with your self-esteem, problems with drugs, problems with drinking, problems with your nerves. Do you have problems that need some behaviour modification, psychological help? Do you need help from Alcoholics Anonymous? Do you need help from the doctor? Do you need help in sort of like coming to terms with the fact that you are not being a bad person, but you are choosing to repeat bad behaviour over and over again, and that makes the behaviour very bad? I think people who choose bad behaviour can choose to stop it. I think you cannot change anybody else, but I think there is always a moment in someone's life when they can say, do you know what, I just don't want to be this way anymore, just don't want to do these things anymore, and go and get help to change. But that has to come from the person themselves. It cannot come from any outside source, because you can't force somebody else to choose differently. You can't force them to be who they're not, and you can't force them to see that they are not being a bad person, but repeating the same pattern of choices which do bad things to people and hurt people. For instance, I can tell you about my own bad repetitive behaviour, where from a child I didn't feel good enough, I didn't feel loved enough, I didn't feel worthy enough. I acted up at school because I was always being compared to my sibling and to people who were more conventional, because I was an unconventional kind of girl even then. I had a spirit that was deemed to be undesirable, and so I was told I was this, I was that, and I became to the point where I realised as an adult, I thought, well, if that's what I'm being labelled as, I might as well be that then. I left home at a very early age, and because of my very low self-esteem, I chose people in my life that maybe enhanced the fact that I had no boundaries and self-esteem with myself. And, maybe that's what's kicked off with recent events, is that I allowed someone to go further than I should have allowed. I don't think I have a problem with self-esteem now. Truthfully, I feel good about myself, better than I felt for a long time. I think I've had a lot of tragedy to deal with and a lot of upset, and the people and the family that I expected to stand by me didn't, and I think I felt very let down by that, and very put under more stress and strain and trauma by that. Wasn't easy to carry around stuff like that. Then my mum died, my dad had a stroke, It's been a very tough time. However, I am strong, and I realise that when I, get to rock bottom, I do kind of rescue myself. The person I fell in love with, I know I saw good things in. I know he isn't totally bad. But there's no doubt that that person has caused not just me, but quite a few women an awful lot of heartache and harm. And I think that it is a habit sometimes. Like I ate to hide myself. I ate so I wouldn't be desired, so I wouldn't be attractive. I felt that very difficult to cope with. I also was very poorly after my accident, and that put on. But I think I hid inside because my self-esteem was bad anyway. Coming out of that time in my life, um, um, I've come out a couple of times and I've got burnt and I've gone back in. This time I'm not going back to a self-imposed exile. I'm using all that I've learned to move on. There's no doubt that, um, you know, it's hard to move on all the time because things come and bite you in the backside. And, this debate about I'm bad so I don't deserve. I think I understand that because I felt bad. Bad woman, bad child. I've been made to feel as though I'm a bad wife in the past and I'm a bad mother. And it absolutely can cripple you. And you've got to get to a point where you just say, do you know what? I'm not a bad anything. I can choose to do what I think and believe in my heart is the right thing for me to do, and it's up to those people to respect me as long as I'm not harming anybody and deliberately harming and hurting anybody over and over and over again. Then even if somebody perceives what you're doing as bad, if you believe in it, that it's the right thing for you and it's making you happy, it can't possibly be bad. Habitual repetitive behaviour can be very bad. Maybe not for the person giving it, but for the people receiving it. It can be very destructive. But you know what I think? I think the person who deals out bad behaviour and bad choices and does things actually harms themselves more and more and more as each bad thing they choose. They lose themselves more and more and more. And so any substance abuse, drink, drugs, food becomes more important. I think sometimes you just have to do what I did and get to the point where you're so sick of doing something. I'm so sick of being a doormat, so sick of being trodden on, so sick of just being somebody's mum and not seen as a person. I was so sick of being fat and injured and not able to move and not able to sing and having no confidence that I decided to change it. And it has been a very hard, painful journey for me. But hey, here I am, changing it daily. Sometimes I slip back, sometimes I'm zooming ahead and I'm flying. And I would say to those of you who think you're bad people, you have it in the power every day, every breath you take, to make a choice to do better, to make a choice to make a change. And if you cannot do it by yourself, I needed the help of Weight Watchers. I needed the help of books and notes and affirmations, doing affirmations and leaving myself notes. And I needed the help of medically as well. I've done an awful lot of work, and all I can say to anybody out there who's thinking that they are a bad, worthless person, the power to change has always been in you, and it always will be in you. And the power to go get help is always in you. It's in all of us. Happiness is in all of us to achieve. We have to choose it. To not hurt people, to respect each other is in our power to choose, but you have to give respect. You can't demand it. You have to give trust. You have to earn trust. You can't just expect it. You have to be honest. And if you promise something, you have to give that promise 150%, irrespective of how difficult it is or what else is there or how easy it is to run away. Running away is easy. Staying and facing something and dealing with it and changing it is very hard. And that's what I would say to all of you out there today, thinking that you are worthless and bad. It's all in you to do something about. Choose to love yourself. Choose to love yourself and admire yourself, and choose to work on yourself. And when you do that, everyone around you benefits by that, and you will find happiness, and you will find success, and you will find someone special, and you will understand what real love and success and life can bring you, and it will bring you happiness. And I wish you so much luck with that.